And there's just one piece from the Mirror this week that I found quite interesting, and that was the announcement about the cause of death of the Queen. And apparently that wouldn't have happened if she'd passed away in England.
Well, I think it's fascinating, sort of these details that are coming out still a year later, because there was just so much information and stories to cover in those 10 to 12 days after the Queen had passed away. But because the Queen did pass away in her beloved Balmoral, her death certificate was actually published sort of as a matter of course, and that wouldn't have happened if she had died in England. I think that certain journalists would have been able, to print it as it is a public document. But interestingly enough, that cause of death of natural causes, there have been questions over the Queen's health for many years. And, luckily she was able to sleep away peacefully, at ease with the world. I think we saw some reports this week of one of the reverends who was there with her in her final days, talking about those final conversations that she'd had, very much about her father, very much about her faith, the Church of England, Church of Scotland, and also her role within the Commonwealth as well. That was very, very dear to her. And I thought a very interesting insight into the Queen's final moments as well.
Now, lastly, just before we go, Andrew's still hanging in there. Look, he attended the family memorial service for the Queen. Given it was a private memorial, do you think it was appropriate?
Well, it's a difficult situation, isn't it? And I think that if there is any creeping back into the public life for Prince Andrew, then a lot of people would find that unpalpable. But again, I think we look back to the moment of the Queen having passed away, was not only a monarch leaving this world, but also a family that was grieving as well. And we had to be particularly sensitive to that. And this was a private memorial. This is a man who has lost his mother, and the family's sort of still coming to terms with that. I think we saw from William and Kate's statement this week that we all miss you, that there was their Twitter message. And speaking to people in members of the public in Wales, where they were this week, they were saying, that the family is still coming to terms with it, I suppose, and their new roles within it. But if Prince Andrew is to try and find a way back into public life, I think that would be very foolhardy. I don't think people would appreciate it. But in terms of him, silently continuing to grieve his mother, I don't think that anyone can stand in that way.
No, I think I agree with that sentiment. Anyway, Russell Myers, thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.